Hello and welcome to another episode of the Experiencing Love podcast. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today, I talk a little bit about appreciation and how I appreciate learning. And I also talk a little bit about the distinction between pain and suffering and how suffering is a choice and I choose to love instead. So without further ado, here we go. All right, so time to begin with my favorite question to ask. All right. I'm in my head. I'm in my head. I'm in my head. I'm in my head. Gotta always start off with a little bit of singing. Singing gets me out of my head. Singing reminds me to be playful. It reminds me to have some fun. When I sing, when I dance, when I move my body around, it puts me into a great state. And from there, I stop overthinking. I'm able to feel. I'm able to make decisions from my heart. Not from my head. So sometimes I do just gotta sing a little. Sometimes it'll show up here, sometimes it won't. It gets cut out. Sometimes it doesn't. Either way, I'm here. Either way, I'm here. And so we begin. How can I experience even more of God's love right now? A lot has happened recently. A lot has happened in my life. A lot of it good. A lot of it a little challenging. But in my mind, it's gifts all around. I'm just feeling really appreciative today. For starters, I'm learning. I'm learning and I'm having fun while learning. I'm learning about myself. I'm learning about how the challenges and the goals that I've faced in the past are creating a positive impact on my life now. I'd love to give a little example. Throughout 2024, I tried to do different forms of social media. I was trying YouTube, I was trying Instagram and Facebook, I was trying TikTok. I was even on LinkedIn for a bit. You could still find those videos out there. And it never quite felt right. I always felt a little bit of a disconnect doing those platforms. But at the end of the day, I was learning. I was learning what I liked. I was learning what I didn't. I learned that social media is a very powerful tool, and at the same time, I'm not great at it. I've always loved the quote, do what you do best, find someone to do the rest. Eventually my goal is to find someone to help me with social media so that I could do what I do best. Part of what I do best now is talking. It's just sitting in front of this microphone and saying what's on my mind, saying what's in my heart. What I do best is coaching, is supporting my friends, my family, my clients in the challenges and the struggles that they're going through. So I want to spend more of my time doing those things rather than doing the things that I feel slow me down, that drain my energy. So despite the challenges, I've learned a lot also about different softwares and different programs and different styles of creating content. And when I came up with this idea to do my own podcast, it was one of those things that just felt right, and I jumped right at it. I jumped at a software that I've never used before, but within 2 days, I found myself using this more efficiently than I did ever any of the video recording softwares. For my videos, I bought a microphone. I use that same microphone now to record these episodes. I even used to play around with AI and automations, and I figured out a way to recycle some of my old automations to make the podcast creation process so much easier, saving me so much time. So now I'm at the point where on the first day, it took me maybe 3.5 hours to record and edit and upload. I could do the same amount of work in just under 30 minutes. And that didn't happen overnight. That happened from countless hours of work and preparation that I put into myself and my process throughout 2024. So when I think about experiencing even more of God's love right now, I'm so grateful that social media didn't work out for me in 2024, that I wasn't getting the fulfillment I was looking for on that path back then, because now I see it as the gift that it is, the skill building, the experience building, the knowledge building. And I know that the things that I'm working on now are going to be the same type of gift that I experience later this year, next year, in the next 3 to 5 years, in the next decade. I'm learning things now that could potentially impact my life for decades to come. That's incredible to me. When I think about that type of serendipity, I can't help but feel love. I choose to feel love. Because at the end of the day, it's my choice on how I feel. I'm also feeling a lot of appreciation for the people in my life. Sometimes I could get into my head and feel some fear about whether or not a person thinks or feels about me in a certain way. And that comes from my past. That comes from the people-pleasing history that I have. I'm appreciative that I'm able to take a step back and notice that those old thoughts and those old patterns aren't my own. And the people in my life help remind me of that. Every person in my life has been a gift, is a gift, and will be a gift. Those of my past are still giving me gifts today and every day in the future. And that's because of how much I cherish the gift of learning, the gift of knowledge, the gift of understanding, the gift of awareness. I've regularly said that as time goes on and I become clearer and clearer on what I want in my life, the quality of every area has steadily improved. The people that I'm meeting light me up inside. And I know that it's because I'm attracting those types of people into my life. I'm allowing them to enter. I also acknowledge that that's intentional. It's not something that just happens. It's something I got to create. I got to create the improvement in my life by changing my focus, changing the way I looked at things. As a personal value, I choose not to complain, choose not to criticize, choose not to stay in judgment. I should rephrase that because, at times a complaint will slip out, a judgment will slip out, a criticism will slip out. And that happens from the conditioning of being human, of the society that we live in, what we're surrounded by. So it's okay for them to pop up. For me, it's not okay to stay there because when I stay in those headspaces, I notice that it brings my mood down. It brings my energy down. I'm less efficient at what I do. I'm less productive. My impact is lower. My love, much lower. So I intentionally avoid complaining, criticizing, judgment, and instead I replace it with true appreciation, true gratitude, true love, true courage, true strength, true learning. When I get the chance to switch my focus like that, it becomes a personal celebration of mine. Noticing when I'm having a judgment pop up, or maybe I catch myself gossiping, and making the conscious decision, actually, let me change this up. If I was embodying love, what would I be saying? What would I be thinking? What would I be doing? It lights me up inside. I don't know who this audio is going to reach. I don't know who this podcast is going to reach. I just trust and believe that it'll reach the person that it's meant to reach. You listening to this podcast right now, you listening to this episode, you listening to this very moment, you're meant to be here. In the same way, I'm meant to be speaking these words right now. Everything happens for a reason. Everything. And in one way or another, it's always a gift. Often it can be hard to look at something and acknowledge the gift that it is, especially if it's painful. Pain isn't always a choice of ours. Sometimes the world causes us pain. Sometimes an environment causes us pain. Sometimes another person causes us pain. Pain is not always a choice. Now, suffering is. Suffering is feeling the pain that you're going through and sitting in it and experiencing it again. Pain only happens once. Suffering repeats itself. I know this because I experienced this. I lived in suffering for a long time. Pains that I've had from my past, from 5, 10, 15 years ago, still weighed me down, still dimmed my light, still put a cover over the love that I had within. I can't do anything about the pain that I felt or the pain that I feel, but I have complete control over the suffering that it can cause me. If I choose to, I can suffer for the rest of my life. But if someone causes me pain for 10 seconds out of a day, why would I throw away the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month, the rest of the year, the rest of my life? I never want to give anyone the satisfaction of knowing that if they intentionally harm me, they cause me suffering. Now, I'm also of the belief that most people don't actually intentionally cause harm unless they're reacting, unless they're defending themselves, unless something has happened to them that has triggered them to react this way. Now, I'm not giving a pass for people to harm one another. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is sometimes people are feeling pain and they're suffering, and the only way they know how to deal with it is to cause suffering on others. They can pain me all they want. They can hurt me all they want. But I will not let them see me suffer. I will not suffer for them. I will love them. I will appreciate them. I will appreciate their past, their pain, their suffering, and I will support them. Support can go a long way to someone who's lost in the dark. Being that light at the end of the tunnel can go a long way to guiding someone out of the dark. Now, my journey has taught me that it's not always easy being that light, but it is damn well worth it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to hear what I have to say. I hope some part of it resonated with you. I hope you related to some part. Maybe you thought of someone in your life who's feeling pain. Maybe you're feeling pain and you want to make the decision to stop suffering. To that I say, when is now a good time? When is now a good time to stop suffering? You'll still feel pain in your life, but from here on out, let's choose to love. Have a great rest of your day. It's a beautiful day to have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you.